Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Prep Rally, the Daily Journal's high school sports podcast. Brad Locke here with you, along with Gene Phelps, senior writer for the Journal.
He's waving to you right
Hey, Gene. Hey. This is, of course, a webcast/podcast. So if you're watching this live, welcome in. If you're watching the replay, hey, welcome in. And if you want to watch it again, or if you're missing any of this, it'll be at djournal.com. You can watch. If you just want to listen to it, you can listen at preprally.djournal.com, listen on iTunes or your podcast app. Follow us on Twitter at djournalpreps. So, Gene, how's it going?
It's going well.
It's division tournament time for basketball. We're smack in the middle of it. It got started Monday and Tuesday, in full force Tuesday last night. So, had a lot of games. Everybody pretty much last night was playing. And we will get to that. We got a little bit of soccer to talk about as well. And we'll have athletes of the week, of course. First, Gene, let's just real quick run down. We have the Daily Journal rankings every week in basketball, and the final regular season rankings came out earlier this week.
They did.
Any notable changes there?
No, I added Pine Grove there at number 10.
For the girls?
Pine Grove girls.
Okay.
Katie Bates' team finished the regular season 18-10, according to Max Preps. They kind of edged out Belmont's Lady Cardinals for that last spot. I hope no one in Belmont is upset about that. I probably at one time just thought about putting them both in there, but Belmont could have just as easily been in that spot. But the final rankings, of course, Boonville was 20-1, and Boonville and Belmont play tonight. So Belmont can show me up and beat Boonville, and they can say, we told you so. But it'll be a good game. Coach Higginbottom, Chris Higginbottom, does an excellent job. He only had one player coming back, and she suffered a season-ending injury a couple of weeks ago. He's got all new players, and they're really good players, though. Belmont has good basketball players, girls basketball players, and Chris does a great job. That combination means even when you're down, you win. And they could beat Boonville tonight. Oh,
no doubt. And on the boys' side?
Well, we finished with, I let it come down to one game, Corinth and Tupelo. Tupelo had been number 1. Corinth beat Tupelo by 2 points. I put Corinth at number 1, Tupelo number 2.
There you go.
That could be flip-flop. I imagine if they played 5 times, one would win 3, 1, 2. The Shannon Red Raiders, I finished them, even though they're 18-10, I had them 6. They beat Corinth earlier last week.
That's right, they did. It was
at Corinth.
Close game too, wasn't it?
At 1 point. At Corinth, after losing to Corinth at home earlier in the year by about 15 or 20.
That's right. So,
that was, in good teams, great teams, who are having great seasons at times have an off night where they stub their toe, and that's not an off night when you lose by 1. But
no,
just some really good boys teams. Of course, you got Baldwin sitting there at number 3. Calhoun City and Oklahoma I had back-to-back at 4 and 5, and they could just as easily be 1 and 2.
Yeah, there's a couple of good 2A teams that could go to state and make some noise.
Right. So we do the rankings only to generate interest.
Sure.
I think the players enjoy looking at it. The coaches use it as bulletin board material sometimes, and the kids, I think, really pay attention to it. So we'll always continue to do it. I don't believe we'll have another. That'll be it for the rankings this year.
Sure.
We'll let the state tournament speak for itself.
Okay. And you can find those rankings in yesterday's journal. In today's journal, we had a lot of coverage on the division tournaments getting underway. Some of them tipped off on Monday, but most of them tipped off Tuesday. We're just going to hit a few highlights because it's a lot of games. We'll start over at ICC where they're playing the 1-4A tournament. I know we had a centerpiece story today, I believe from David Wheeler, Shannon girls getting a win there in 1-4A. Let's see here if I can. There we go. Got it right here, Gene.
Yeah,
they beat Amory 66-53. Shannon girls, they're the number 4 seed in that tournament. And some other scores from Tuesday, Corinth girls also victorious over Tishomingo County. Yeah. And then you had Pontotoc boys and Itawamba boys winning. And then that That tournament will continue on Thursday. Most of the tournaments continue on Thursday.
That's a tournament where you kind of figure that Cart's boys should win.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Pontotoc matchup tomorrow night with Shannon and girls is really a good one.
Yeah.
That game could go either way. And I think Itawamba's girls, if they continue to win, you'll see it. I think Itawamba's girls will continue to win, get to the championship. So you're going to have an Itawamba, Pontotoc, Itawamba, Shannon girls final, which would be really good.
Let's move real quick to 1-3A. That's where you were at, correct, Gene? Last night you'll be at tonight.
That's where I'll be tonight. 1-3A. You've got Boonville and Belmont girls playing at 4:00 this afternoon. Of course, it's not an elimination game. They're at the point now where anybody who loses tonight can play in a consolation game
Right.
Friday, and it's all about seeding now.
Yeah.
You want to win. You want to be a #1 seed, because you're a #1 seed. You're going to play next. If you're a girls team, you're going to play next Monday and next Friday at home.
Okay.
In the first and second round of the state tournament.
Right.
And that's a big deal playing at home. If you're a #2 team, you're going to play at home on the first night, and there's no guarantee that you'll be at home on that second night.
Yeah.
If you're paired up against a #1. But anyway, that's going to be a really great girls basketball game.
Belmont beat Kossuth last night, and Belmont girls 46-34. And they're playing again today. Most tournaments taking today off, but some of them.
The one in Northeast, they're playing at Northeast Community College in Boonville, and Northeast has home games Thursday, so
Right.
they had to play Wednesday.
Right,
today.
but most of these tournaments will resume on a Thursday and go into the weekend. 2-5A real quick. We had John Davis was over there. They're playing that one. Where are they playing that one at, Gene?
They're at Oxford High.
That's right. And Oxford High, the host, had a
your
big
matchup
win.
there to look forward to is a championship game Friday between Oxford and South Hill boys.
Yeah. Oxford boys beat West Point last night. Jarkale Joyner had a big game, 45 points. He's gone over 40 and at least one other time I remember, but he can light it up.
A really good player, a really good scorer. And, that Oxford team has got a lot of good players. And just like Saltillo, Saltillo's coming in, that little burp there in mid-season where some of the players got suspended, missed about 5 games, but they got Javen Humphrey, the sophomore, who's a really good player, leading them in scoring. Then you got the twins, Jason and Juwan Smith, really good ball players. That is a lineup with some height and really talented, and they both clinched spots in the tournament next week. So they'll be playing for pride. You want to win your division championship, and
No doubt.
be a good catalyst to move into the tournament next week.
Looking at 2-6A, they're playing that up in Hernando. And of course, Tupelo's boys and girls both up there. Tupelo's boys winning last night over Hernando handily, 75-38. Isn't Hernando the team that beat them in division play?
They are.
And,
They are.
And they beat them twice since then.
Yeah, and Tupelo's gotten their revenge. That gives you the Tupelo-Columbus rematch. They split during the season. And, of course, that's Robert Woodard versus Trey Jenkins.
There you go.
Robert Woodard being from Columbus.
Right.
The son of Robert Woodard, who played at Hulka years ago and played for Mississippi State.
Right.
Actually, at one time, that Mississippi State had a 6-man award they gave every year in honor of Robert Woodard, I believe, Jr. But anyway, really, they're both in.
Right.
They're both in the state tournament next week. And I want to just clear that up. We were talking about this before the show. You no longer have the North Half or North Mississippi tournament. What you'll do next week on Mondays and Tuesdays, you'll have girls playing Mondays, boys Tuesdays, and then they'll go Friday and Saturday. And it's the first round of the state tournament, actually. And then it's the second round, and then you go to Jackson for the quarterfinals.
Right.
So we're just going to call it state tournament.
There you go. Now, the Tupelo girls, they need to win tomorrow. They lost to South Panola last night. That final was 77-68.
Yeah, smaller divisions in the bigger classes, regions, whatever you want to call them. We call them divisions. They're in an elimination game.
Yeah.
If they lose, they're out. If they win, they're a number 3 seed.
They will play Hernando tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Excuse me, Friday at 4 o'clock.
Right.
On Friday. So that's 2-6A. A lot of division tournaments going on this week. You can find box scores and scores in today's journal, page 2B. Just looking through here, Gene, I don't know if anything else that stands out to you.
It's just all about positioning.
Yeah.
Everybody playing tomorrow night. You'll have 4 games at almost every site.
Yeah.
And you can lose and make it to the next day, and you're playing for seeding. You're jockeying for winning the tournament and for seeding.
Yeah. Last night you were actually at Hickory Flat, weren't you?
I was.
T1A, you saw West Union boys over Blue Mountain. And Blue Mountain has a guy that can light it up, Devon England. They kind of held him he had 27 points, but hey, they won the game.
That was the first time I got to watch him play, and he is the smoothest shooter I've ever seen.
Really?
He is really something else. You'd have to see him. I know one time last night he drove the lane for a layup, and he just like slithered around 2 or 3 folks going through and never touched them.
Wow.
He'd probably be really good playing that operation game. I mean, he just went right through them, never touched anybody. Great player. He's a senior.
Yeah.
And too bad his season ended last night.
Yeah. Well, again, most of these tournaments resume on Thursday, and we've kind of talked about some of these games to look for. We mentioned Tupelo girls have to win on Friday. Gene, you talked about some of the matchups coming up in 1-4A, of course, 1-3A playing some games tonight.
Yeah, I'll tell you a great one. 2-4A at Ripley boys. You got New Albany.
Yep.
This is a championship game. New Albany boys versus Ripley boys. It's 2 first-year coaches, Robert Burdett at New Albany, Adam Kirk at Ripley.
Yep.
Both of them are really playing well right now. That's going to be Kedrick Story will be covering that for the Journal.
Sure.
Friday night, and he's really looking forward to it. I'd like to see that one myself, but I'll go somewhere else so we can cover another game.
Yeah.
But that is going to be, to me, that's one of the games of the evening on.
Okay. Well, lots of good stuff coming up with these division tournaments, and again, we'll have a lot of coverage there in the Journal and at djournal.com. Gene, let's talk a little bit of soccer. The soccer season just ended recently. Of course, we had Oxford's girls, the lone area team to bring home a state title, but still some postseason honors to hand out, including the Daily Journal All-Area Soccer Team. And it's going to be out in the next week or two.
Yeah, we're shooting for not this weekend, but the next weekend, which would probably be a Sunday paper.
Right.
A lot of times it's kind of dependent on space.
Right.
We'll have it ready to go. And it's been fun. I've gotten some nominations from coaches. I've talked with some coaches about different players. I want to make sure we're trying to keep the same. I know 11 players start in soccer,
right.
But we pick a 5-person first team. We don't really call them, well, we call them first team, but really it's just who we think are the top 5 players. And
right.
then we do an honorable mention. That's what we've done the last couple of years. We'll do it again this year, just to be fair and keep things. And it's been kind of tough figuring out who's, in the top 5, because usually you have about top 6 or 7.
Sure.
That nobody can argue with. So you're trying to find 5 players, boys and girls, that people go, okay, I see that.
Yeah. And you're going to obviously have players from Tupelo. They tend to kind of to have their share. Players like Logan Little from the boys team.
Yeah.
But you've got players from other schools. I mean, I think soccer's really grown around here.
That's the thing. We've got good players at other schools. I had a coach tell me a couple of years ago, you could put about 8 kids from Tupelo on that thing. Nobody could argue with you. And that's true. But we're trying to spread the wealth around here. And we've got good players at other schools. And, Corinth over the years has had great players. Amory this year had a couple of really good players. They've actually got 4. Not all of them will probably make the team, but they've got 4 probably that deserve to be on this team.
Right.
And they played for a championship this year too. Nathan Clayton did a great job.
Yeah, and on the girls' side, of course, you've got the reigning Daily Journal Player of the Year, Allie Houghton from Lafayette. She's one of those candidates.
Let's see, is she going to be the Player of the Year again this year? We'll have to wait and see.
She's a candidate.
But her sister Maddie's a good player too.
Yeah,
she's a candidate to be on this team. And that Oxford lineup.
Yeah.
I'm having to look at like 4 or 5 players from that Oxford team that did win a state championship.
And that's a youngish team, isn't it?
It is. There's an 8th grader who is a really a a serious first five candidate. I mean, it'd be hard to leave her off that top.
So Morgan
five.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
scored the big goal in that championship game, as I recall.
She did.
So boys player of the year candidates.
I'd say you have to go with Logan Little and Brandon Kane from Amory, and Logan Little's from Tupelo. Yeah. Logan was the first first team member on the team last year, and he had a solid season again. I mean, that through the playoffs at the end of the year, he was either contributing to every goal or scoring them.
Right.
That's a lot to be said in 6A soccer.
Sure is. So look for the all-area soccer team to come out probably a weekend after this one. So Sunday week, as I said, I guess. But, well, you'll have to just wait until then to find out exactly who is player of the year and who's on the team. So, all right, Gene, from soccer, we go to the athletes of the week. We do this every week. We pick a male and a female athlete that have had a particularly good week in the area, and just give them a shout out here on the show. Gene, who we got?
Well, I like Shania Buford, the guard from Lafayette.
Okay.
She scored 39 points last night, and
Wow.
their win against Ripley. And she's a really good player. She's small. She's probably like about a 5'5" guard, and she can really shoot. And 39 points is quite impressive. And when she's on, that team wins.
Yeah.
And then she's not the only one they've got, but she's a really good player. And of course, you pointed this out earlier. How could you not put in Jarkel Joyner from Oxford?
Yeah, man, you've seen him play.
I have.
And
45 points.
Well, what's it like when you've seen him go off? What's working for him in a game like that?
He can go inside out. That's what makes him so strong.
Yeah.
He can back out. He can shoot from the perimeter, and he can also take you off the dribble and go to the hoop. So, I mean, he's just one of those good inside-out players.
Yeah.
Thing is, when Oxford's playing on all cylinders and everybody's contributing, it makes him a better player.
Yeah.
And when they don't, then he doesn't struggle or anything, but he can't keep up. He can't score 45 a night for you.
Right.
And they've got some good players. They're you look at that lineup sometimes and you go, oh my goodness, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
They've got 3 tall guys, and one of those is DK Metcalf.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He can get in there and play around the board.
Yeah,
and,
the Ole Miss football committee is a pretty good athlete.
Yeah, and so they got Christopher Sandroni, who's an outside shooter, and when he's on, he can go out and spot up and score you 12 or 15 points too.
Yeah.
And he's a key a lot of times if he's on. If he's not on, then it's just all the different elements that fit into a team.
And you mentioned they're going to be playing Saltillo. Should be a good game in that T5A tournament.
That'd be another good game. I expect John Davis from our Oxford Citizen will cover that for us. That's another game I'd like to see.
Oh yeah.
That I won't attend, but again, I'm sure there'll be something out there for me.
You're holding down the 1-3A girls tonight.
Yeah.
And so look for Gene's coverage. Look for all the coverage on these division tournaments. And again, congrats to the athletes of the week. And that's it for this show, everybody. Remember again to follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, state bowling.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Sorry, Gene, I forgot about
and
that.
Friday down in Jackson at the Metro 24 lanes. We've got someone that'll be down there covering both days for us. Just real quick, we've got Tupelo in Class 2, which bowls Friday. Tupelo entered the tournament as a wild card this year. In other words, they didn't finish first and second, but they had the best scores, boys and girls, to be included as one of the 2 wild cards bowling as a team down there in Jackson. The Class 1 tournament that starts tomorrow, just in girls, you've got Itawamba AHS, Kossuth, Manatee, New Albany, TCPS, and Tremont. In boys, you've got East Union, Itawamba, Kossuth, New Albany, TCPS, and West Union. And Kossuth's girls and Tupelo Christian Prep's boys are defending state champions. So be interesting to see.
State bowling championships going on this week. Okay, now we're done. So
all right.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Again, follow us on Twitter at DJournalPreps. Drop us an email if you want, preprally@journalinc.com. And again, this is a webcast and a podcast. You can listen at preprally.djournal.com or on iTunes or your podcast app. So we'll be back next Wednesday, and we'll have plenty more basketball and who knows what else to talk about. So until then, thanks for joining us. Have a good one.